Welcome to What in the World, a project initiated by Hungry for Life International. Today's podcast is titled The Intern and the Video Guy, and Jess will be interviewing Ruben and TJ. So grab your headphones, sit back, relax, and listen as they talk about their trip to Haiti and the DR and their experiences while they were there.
Hi, and welcome back to another week of What in the World podcast, where we talk about all things to do with global missions and running a nonprofit. I am your host, Jessica Goshulak. I've never said that before. That's fun. And today's topic is untitled so far. We have not come up with a title yet. No. The best I can come up with at this point is the newbies, because today our guests are our newest staff member, right, TJ?
I think so, yeah. Well, got a new staff now, but
okay,
pretty new, yeah.
All right, I'll come up with a new title. So one of our newer staff, TJ Gelman, and our intern,
yes,
Ruben. I can't say your last name. Verheij.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah.
Where are you from, Ruben?
From the Netherlands, all the way.
All the way from the Netherlands.
Yes.
We take on charity cases even from the Netherlands.
I thought you would make that joke, but it's okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, Ruben's our intern, so we give him a bit of a hard time, but in all fairness, he gives us a hard time too. He said he would never get us a cup of coffee. No. So
cheers.
So cheers. All right. Today we're talking about their latest trip with our Director of International Operations, Jason. They went to Haiti along with two of our other HFL friends, who one of them was on a podcast a couple weeks ago at this point. And so we just wanted to get your guys' perspective on the trip that you just went on and just get to know you a bit so that our listeners can understand the type of people that we hire here. So be on your best behavior. Okay. But on that note, I want to get to know both of you a little bit I know both of you, but for our listeners' standpoint. Yeah. So TJ, how long have you been at Hungry for Life?
I've been here for almost a year and a half now, I think.
Okay. So, and what do you do here?
I am the video producer, one of the video producers here. Do a lot of graphics, editing, filming, podcasts.
Yep.
And then, it's kind of a lot of stuff, painting.
and TJ is like our resident trip tag-along.
Yeah. Working on it to be all the time.
You just got back from also Ukraine.
Yeah.
And where else? Those are the last two trips that you've been on.
Yeah, and the first two.
The last two and the first two.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love having TJ here. He is a great storyteller and video producer, and glad you're here.
Thank you.
And Ruben, how long have you been here for?
I've been here since March, the beginning of March. March 7th, I arrived in Canada.
And how are you liking Canada so far?
It's amazing so far. Yeah. It's a crazy ride, but it's cool to be here, to see Canada, to work here at Hungry for Life, to meet people, the Canadian people, and to be on a trip was cool too. And yeah.
So what was your motivation for doing an internship here at Hungry for Life?
Mostly because I couldn't find anything in the Netherlands. And that's not totally the truth, but no, I graduated in August last year in International Development Studies in the Netherlands. I was looking for a job opportunity to find some more experience in the mission field. And I tried to email some organizations in the Netherlands, and most of them didn't respond at all. And then I got in contact with family here in Canada who came to the Netherlands, and we had a long conversation.
Dutch people in Chilliwack? No. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
continue.
He isn't living in Chilliwack.
Oh, okay.
He's living in Vancouver Island. And
okay.
That's nice, but he knew Dave Blundell.
Okay.
And we had a long conversation about my dreams, what I want to do. And he said, I might know an organization somewhere in Chilliwack, Canada. I will get you in contact with them, and we will see what it will be and what will happen. And after a few Zoom calls with the most important people here, I guess.
Wait, TJ and I were not consulted.
Yeah, I never saw on a Zoom call with you.
After some conversations, they said, you can come over and do an internship here. And so from trying to get something in the Netherlands, I ended up in Canada.
Yes.
Yeah.
With torn, not ACL. What did you tear the first week you were here?
The first week I was here, I went skiing, and I was like, okay, I've never skied before, but I thought I can do this. So I went on the skis and twisted my knee, and I turned out I've torn my ACL and my meniscus. But
It is your ACL.
yeah, it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
It's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Can change it anymore, so it's okay now.
Wow.
Doesn't
Well,
hurt that
welcome to
much.
Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very adventurous.
Yes.
Too adventurous.
Cool. So when you decided to come here, did
Yeah.
you know that you'd be going on other trips?
Not really, but they said it during the first few meetings that it was possible to join to a trip to Haiti, and that was it was a cool opportunity to do. Yeah. So I didn't expect that was part of my internship.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of a fun bonus,
Yeah, it was a cool bonus.
especially with crazy Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for both of you, what was the deciding factor? What was the purpose in you going? Ruben, we kind of mentioned is more part of your internship, but TJ, what was the purpose of you going on this trip?
Purpose of me was just getting footage of all the partners. We haven't seen them in 3 years, so just getting new B-roll, like footage of the grounds and the area, like new projects, like multiple places had new buildings pop up since we were there, or not I, but Jason was there, and getting interviews of what the partners, just updates with them, what their plan is for the future, and just getting all that footage back to be able to make videos and stories for all the donors that help out with those organizations.
So this was both of your first time to Haiti, yes?
Yeah.
So initial response, so you land, you meet some of the people. What's like your first reaction? Your first thought that comes into your head of what Haiti was like?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful in different ways, and also, yeah, it's weird to say it's beautiful because there's so many problems in Haiti, and you can immediately see it when you arrive in Haiti. But the country itself has something beautiful in it. Yeah, so many different places and so many different types of nature, but every area has its own big problems, and that was my first thought.
And how was your experience different from your expectations? Or was it not different from your expectations? What did you expect? Ruben, go for it.
I didn't really expect something because I didn't know what I was going to do, really. I knew, okay, we're going to visit some different partners, and I did some research about them and tried to figure out what kind of work they are doing. But a mission statement is cool, but you can never capture the culture of an organization in their mission statement. Sometimes they do it, but it was really nice to see how different ministries in different areas were working. So I didn't really have the expectation to see, okay, this is what this ministry is doing there, and this ministry there. But during the trip, we saw that they were working in different ways in different situations, but all with the same goal, and that was really cool to see. Yeah.
I want to talk about your schooling for a second.
Yeah.
So you just graduated with your degree in international development?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of theory behind.
Yeah.
What was it like seeing that theory put into play?
That was really interesting because my study was all about how to develop the world. So it was from a very local perspective where they focus on agriculture projects for only one farmer, or on very big scales where they focus on the United Nations. So that was really interesting to see that really happening in the field, where you see different projects from big organizations and also very small projects for only a farmer. But the most interesting thing to see was that Hungry for Life, of course, is a Christian organization, and we work with Christian ministries. And I did my study on a non-Christian or a university, so my whole study was based on theory without the Christian perspective from it. And what was really cool in the field was to see, okay, development work is nothing for me and for the ministries without the spiritual part. So that was really cool to see that happening, because you can change somebody's life with building their house, but if you bring them to Christ and they are able to serve other people, that's way more impactful for me than building that house or building an agriculture project or doing a schooling program or anything else. So that was really cool to see that for the first time happening and hear the stories about it and behind people's life-changing and life-changing stories. So that was really impressive. Yeah.
That's a really neat perspective on that. Like, like having a kind of a secular take on world development and and project development, and then injecting that faith aspect.
Yeah.
And seeing that the marriage of those two things change lives.
Yeah, because you can't separate it from each other.
Yeah. And one of the partners, I think Manus at Lemuel,
Okay.
Said if you do like put people through schooling and get them to university, they usually, without Christianity, they don't want to. They would like go to the U.S. and like get more schooling and be able to further their education. But with Christianity, it brings a lot of people back to their own communities to be able to build back into their communities. Because one guy we met, he studied in the DR, and like to go from Lemuel to the DR is like to go to the desert, the poorest of the poor, to the big city, and then want to come back and start a business there. Just like without,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Right.
Yeah.
No, if you want to develop yourself and you're only focusing on yourself, then you would say, okay, I would stay in the Dominican Republic in Santo Domingo because there are way more opportunities there than in a desert area where there's nothing at Lemuel. But he decided that he wanted to come back because he said, what Manus gave to me, I want to give it back to my community.
Wow.
And that story is what we heard many times from different ministries where leaders or invested in other people, and they said, okay, the people wanted to come back to serve their own community. And that was really encouraging to see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat because you take like the theory in education and then you just slap on the Great Commission, right? And then it just it pulls people back to exactly where God wants them.
Yeah, and they don't have to because if they got the opportunity to get a better life somewhere else, it's up to them to decide whether or not they want to stay. But they all said, the people we spoke to said, we want to come back because God gave us the opportunity to do this, to develop ourselves, to give it back to the community. And that was really cool. Yeah,
that's really neat. And I'm actually, after we film this podcast, I'm filming a podcast with Mark Stockland from Haiti Bible Mission, who you guys went to visit. And I know he's super passionate about leadership development for this reason, right? Did you see that play out? Like, well, you just told me you did see that play out, so that's kind of neat.
Well, one thing Mark said is that the biggest thing he could do was hand over the keys to his whole ministry, like the combination to his safe, to his trucks, to his whole compound. Like 2 years after he started, I think. Yeah. And the Haitians there that he was trying to pour into, just like they were so honored that he would trust them with that. And he said that was a big like stepping point or turning point for his ministry, because he had to go home for personal reasons for some reason, and he just, instead of locking up his compound and closing it up, he gave the keys to the Haitians that he was pouring into.
Yeah, that was awesome to hear that story. But it's also at other ministries, I already mentioned that they all have the same goal. And although Lemuel isn't the same as Haiti Bible Mission, if you travel from Lemuel to Haiti Bible Mission, it's quite a culture shock, because you go from the driest area in Haiti, you fly directly to the most green area of Haiti, and also from a very rural area you go to the city. So that was a huge culture shock, but they all had the same goal, to raise leaders for their own community and to support them in building the kingdom in their own community. And that's really cool that they all have the same goal, and that's also happening at United Christians International, who we visited, and I believe that's in other ministries too.
You guys are answering my questions before I even ask them, because one of my questions was like, you traveled 3 different areas, right? Within the country?
Yeah, within Haiti. Yeah, and then we also went
Lemuel, which is far north, right? In the desert. Deserty area. UCI, which is also somewhat north. Jason's gonna correct us if we are wrong. Don't take my word for this. And then Jeremy, which is more by Port-au-Prince, which is south.
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was going to ask, like, how different is it? And do you sense that the people think differently? Do they act differently? But you're saying, even though the landscape and geography is quite different and you're faced with different challenges in each different area, you're saying that there is a unity amongst them? Is that like, or what would you say is the thread tying them all together? Is that a hard question to answer?
No, maybe we think about it for
I
a
think,
good answer.
like in the development and Great Commission side of things,
Yeah.
that's where they're unified, but each place is so different. Like, and especially their approach to those things as well. Like, UCI was the first place we went to, and they have this huge school, like 2,600 students in Keita University. And they're kind of in jungle, and their ministry is very different from Lemuel, which is in the desert, very rural, less people, but Lemuel focuses on dignity and hard work, and then the city is focused on like street ministry, that's one part of it, like just
Okay.
They just go talk to everybody.
The need is different. Yeah.
But they all kind of unified in Christ, and also
Okay.
just development work in general.
Neat. And then you went to the Dominican.
Yeah.
Do we want to go there yet? Yeah, let's go there. So wait, no, backtrack for a second. TJ, I want you to tell me about the rain.
Yeah.
The rain in Lemuel. That was a really cool situation. And if you were following our social media accounts, we posted a little bit about it, and I think you just made a movie about it too, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What happened? Why is that significant?
Yeah, Lemuel when we got there, we were only there for 2 days, and the first day they kind of toured us around all these big water holes that they dug by hand, and they said they hadn't gotten water for 6 months. Since last November, and they were just touring us around all these water holes that were basically dry. They were like just finishing off the water in them for all their gardens, and all their drinking water they truck in by truck. They truck in.
Yeah.
And so water is like a very valuable resource there because it never rains there really. Mm-hmm. And then the second day, Easter Sunday, they were praying in church for rain. And then we just kind of met with leaders after, and then just went, looked at the development projects. And then one of the guys gets a phone call and said, like, the water's coming, you got to come back quick. And so he was like, we got to run, because we were across a ditch where the water was going to come through.
Okay.
And when the rain comes, it flash floods.
Okay.
So we all just started running, and we're like, Jason was like translating.
Run.
Yeah, everyone was. Yeah, he was running even with his bad knee, and Jason was translating on the way, like what's happening? We were like, what's going on? And like, just we gotta get over there quick.
Yeah.
And then, everyone we got past the river, or what was going to be the river, and they said, like, quiet down, like, you can hear the water coming. And you could hear, like, in the distance, like, a rumble of water, and people, like, screaming for joy, like, way up. And Ruben ran and got the drone.
Send the intern.
Yeah,
Get the drone.
That was my
the guy
job.
with the bad knee,
Yeah.
send him to get the drone.
Oh, we had a car, so that was
That's
quite
true.
safe, but that's still run. Yeah.
Yeah. And put the drone up and, like, flew it a couple kilometers away and didn't see anything. I was like, is it actually coming? And then waited, like, I don't know,
A long time.
maybe half an hour, and sent the drone up again, and then we saw the water coming down the valley. And it came.
Yeah.
Like, it filled all their pools. Like, these hand dug reservoirs are like 20 feet deep, couple 100 feet across. Like, they're huge.
Like literally by hand?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no
Like-
machines?
The later ones they dug by machine, but that's
Okay.
only last like couple years.
Yeah.
But they dug these other ones by hand, and they dug canals from the mountains
Yeah.
to these reservoirs that are
Wow.
deeper than your head.
Yeah.
Like they're 8 feet deep, maybe.
That's crazy.
And yeah, and then all these pools filled with water, and they were saying like if it rained actually in that place, that'd be even crazier, and it poured that whole night.
No way.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah. That's neat to be able to experience that at that time and be there to witness
really
that.
cool.
What was your take on that?
Yeah, it was indeed amazing to see all their projects, and everything was prepared to receive the water, but there was no water. So they said every time, okay, we have those holes here, and if the water comes from the mountains, then it will flood in there, and the canals will bring it to this reservoir, and then we can water this garden, and we are able to grow more trees and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no water, so the whole story wasn't complete without the water.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, for only being there for 2 days on Easter Sunday as well, it completed the whole story about what Lemuel is doing, what the focus is on, where the heart is, and that was really, really nice to experience that and to see the whole story from beginning to end. And
really
see what water can bring to a community that's so dry like Lemuel.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Lemuel has a really cool documentary. Where can we find that? Do you know? Does anyone know?
I think it's on YouTube.
Yeah. But
If I
close.
remember, I will try and link it because it's a really neat perspective on what they're facing up north and the challenges. So somebody remind me to link that.
Yeah, we will.
How about Dominican? So I didn't really preface this well because they did actually jump on over to Dominican to do a project assessment with Jason, right? For a new partner. What was that like? Like, this is a different kind of trip. Like, it's not necessarily like a typical missions trip where you do a lot of work with the locals and stuff. It was more so assessing. So, Ruben, how did you enjoy Dominican? How did you enjoy it? That's a funny question.
Yeah.
What was impactful?
It was impactful. It was really different than Haiti, of course, and it's weird to think about that because it's on the same island, but the differences between one border are huge. So immediately when we arrived in Santo Domingo, we went to our hotel, and that was way more luxurious than we've had in weeks before. So that was quite a culture shock too, because you go from the poorest of the poor, and still the food was amazing, and we had some good guest houses, and everything was arranged quite good. But still, it's a poor area, so you have to be careful with how much water you use at Lemuel, or every ministry has its own difficulties. And then you stay in a resort or in a hotel where everything is free and you can use everything.
You're giving it away, Ruben.
Yeah, and that's different. Even when you visit a community in the morning, that's really, really hard to see how much wealth there is in the Dominican Republic, but also how much poverty there is only 30 kilometers away. So if we visited a community, it wasn't hard to find kids who were malnourished, or kids who weren't able to go to school, and also a lot of undocumented Haitian people who don't have any access to healthcare or education or other social systems. Yeah. So to see that contrast between Haiti in the country and see the wealth in the Dominican Republic, and also see the problems in the Dominican Republic, that was quite a shock, but it was very encouraging to see again, to see what kind of ministries are working in those different communities to help the poor. And that was cool. Yeah.
TJ, you want to talk about our new international partner in Dominican?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Carlos. Well, Carlos, he kind of manages.
Yeah.
I've heard he's a very high capacity man.
2 or 3 organizations.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yes, different.
Empowering Action is one of them. Pro Infancia is the other one. I know that he does something else, but I can't remember.
The Institute of Holistic Christian Education, something like that. I don't really...
Institute of Holistic Christian Education?
I might say it wrong, but it was something like that.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Sounds
like the naturopath of Christianity.
Yeah.
It was something big, but I still have to find it out.
Yeah. So a lot of it, he kind of focuses on leader development, teaching pastors.
Okay.
He's got like a whole curriculum that him and his team have made. Pro Infancia is a lot about malnourished kids. So just getting them the supplies they need and nourishment and kind of keeping track. They have a whole app that they keep track of all the kids.
Oh, neat.
And they have like levels of nourishment and like how they're progressing.
Oh, that's
really
slick.
cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
And yeah.
That's neat.
His whole office, he's an established ministry already.
Okay.
Which like what Jason was saying with assessing like his levels of risk.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's already an established ministry, it's pretty low risk.
Yeah.
As on the surface at least, just like it's already established. They know how to do reporting, how to do.
And Carlos himself also has a lot of experience in the community development work, so that's
okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also with teams, he does teams already.
Okay.
He just needed more help with that too.
Sure.
So
Ruben, again with your theory behind you of your studies of international development, what was your take on Dominican versus Haiti?
Yeah, the Dominican is of course a very Christian country.
Is it?
Yeah, most of them are Roman Catholic, so they are Christian, but they don't really practice it. But it was really interesting to see that the communities where we went to, a local church was supporting the work that we were doing there, and there was also a local church trying to help the poor there. So everywhere we go, although the community only had 400 people, there was a local church there. Mm-hmm. And we also met a pastor, and he was leading one of the communities as well as a pastor, but also as a community leader, and really has a heart for his community. And also for him, he can have many other different kinds of jobs, but he still wants to serve the people in the community. So that was really interesting to see that happening, and to see also again the development work that they are doing. They're building school, and they're trying to organize a feeding program for the malnourished kids, and on the same time they also want to bring the gospel. So that was kind of the same in the Dominican as in Haiti, but of course there are huge differences in the development work and what they have to do there.
Yeah, like one day we'll do a podcast on macro and microeconomics and development, because that'd be an interesting one to kind of dissect each country and where they're at. But you've had a few weeks to process this whole trip.
Yes.
Looking back, how has your perspective changed, or has it?
Whoa, that's a big question. Again, for me, I really had a hard time when I came back, because it's always after a mission trip for me that I have to process different things, and now I'm finishing my internship here, so the question is also what's next. And I was really encouraged and motivated by the work that Hungry for Life is doing in Haiti, in the Dominican Republic, and other places in the world at the moment. So that raised the question, okay, what do I want to do in the mission field? So I had to process that. So that changed my perspective a little bit, because there's so much beautiful things to do, although the place looks so poor and there's so much poverty and so much spiritual need as well. There is always an opportunity to develop the community or develop one person and bring the gospel there. Mm-hmm. So that really changed my perspective during the trip in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
I think for me, just being aware of perspective change. Like, we even debriefed a little bit about it, just between partners. Like we shouldn't compare them because they're so different in some ways, but they're also similar and they can help each other. Mm-hmm. But then also, I found going from Ukraine, like, I really care about this. Like, I'm seeing all these stories, I'm hearing all these stories in person, and then like seeing what's going on, and then be like, just my mind's all about Ukraine. And then you go to Haiti and you're like, oh, this partner is so like cool and I want to help them. And then you go to the next partner and you're like, oh, I want to help them.
Right.
And you keep doing that.
Yes.
And we went to 5 different partners in Haiti alone, or Haiti and Dominican. And then it kind of just, I guess, opened my perspective more, just like,
you have to manage the load, right?
Yeah. It's just, there's so many different stories of like God doing crazy cool work in the world. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's hard like as just a singular person, just be. It's a lot of yeah.
I totally know what you mean. Like you leave a little bit of your heart in every little place that you go, and if you only go to one place, you think my heart belongs entirely there. But you know, the more you experience in life, like the more countries you open up your eyes to and change your world perspective, you gain a bigger perspective. And if you listeners think like TJ and want to help all 14 countries, come work for us. Shameless plug.
And also to add on that, it's also, we have heard so many stories about people who are in desperate need for things, or people who had health issues, finance issues, weren't able to work, or their kids couldn't go to school. All kinds of stories we've heard about it. But we are not able to help every single person, but still you carry that story with you, and that also touches me personally, because there's so much need in the world, and we can only do this part. And I'm really motivated to do that part, but still there's so much more to do, always.
Oh, it's so overwhelming.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And that can be disencouraging.
And one thing Benny asked us, who was one of the guys on, it's like, if you had we just did this big trip, saw all his partners. If you had $100,000, how would you divvy it up?
Good question.
I was like, ooh. That's weird. Yeah, it took a while to think about that, and just like, how do you... Yeah. It's hard to divvy up money between people, but that's what donors do. Like, that's what we kind of help donors do as well. Just like, how do you find that partner that fits with your heart? And it just... Like,
you just got to start somewhere, right? Like,
yeah.
I think our pastor said this last week or some, I'm going to butcher it, but he said, you can't change the world in a day, but you can in a lifetime. Like, you know, you make one small decision today, and that compounded over your lifetime can make a big difference in the world. So start today, start with something small. If your heart's in Haiti, start there. You never know where, you know, or whatever it is. But, yeah. Any final thoughts, you guys? It's almost snack time in the office.
That's true. Getting hungry. So.
Another shameless plug for HFL. If you like snacks, every Tuesday at 10:30.
Oh, you want more staff? Oh,
yeah. Sorry, I think I cut you off, Ruben. Were you going to say something?
No, I was thinking about something last thought, but yeah.
Shoot. And then I went on to food. Sorry.
No, never mind. It was an awesome trip, and yeah, it really opened my eyes for the first time being in the mission field, so that was really cool.
Cool.
Nothing to add on that. Yeah.
Right. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, just about. I was telling the stories about Haiti and like the stuff we saw. It's like, oh, I just feel like Bible times, like, and like you see like miracles, and here just feels so dead, like in North America. But like, well, Jeremy in chapel was talking this morning. Like, there is miracles that are happening here.
Yeah.
Our eyes are just not open to them, and they seem like everyday things here, but they actually are miracles that are happening here.
Totally.
So
yeah.
Just change your lens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, guys, thanks for letting me spring this on you.
Yeah.
I didn't show them any questions ahead of time. I don't normally do that to our guests. I give them at least 1 day's notice. I don't have any follow-up comments, so that's a wrap. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to What in the World, where we seek to educate and inspire. Here at Hungry for Life, we are passionate about your group having a global impact in eradicating needless suffering. For more information, head over to our website at hungryforlife.org, and you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you may listen to podcasts. Tune in every other week for another conversation about what is happening at Hungry for Life.